Hey everyone, my name is Ashley Waddle and I am a secondary autism teacher teaching in Clovis, California. I'm taking this course for my autism credential, and today I want to talk about the Autism Program Environment Rating Scale that I used when I did some observation hours in ESY. So the program that I observed is also the high school program and with junior high students as well. The program was being taught by a substitute teacher for the ESY program when I observed, and the program was done really beautifully. So the educator had experience working as a substitute in autism already, so she clearly knew what she was doing, and the environment that she facilitated was perfect for the students, in my opinion. And actually, I pulled some resources from her that I plan to use this coming school year that she happily shared with me. So that was a really great experience. First, I want to talk about the learning environment. So one thing that I noticed that the teacher did in this setting was that she allowed for students to be seen from most points of the classroom. So I gave her a 2 out of 3 for this, but really it wasn't much that the educator could do given the environment, just the classroom environment that she had to teach in. So there were 2 extra settings which were actually really great for the students in the program. But unfortunately, students cannot be monitored by one person in all locations in the environment. Autism programs in our district typically have at least 5 staff members in them. So it's okay, because even if you have a staff member on lunch or on break or whichever that may be, you can either keep all of the students in one learning environment, or if they need to go into a different learning environment, there are additional staff members there that can monitor them in those locations. That being said, you're also not a very far distance away, so if you weren't going to be able to keep a watchful eye 100% of the time for a student, you wouldn't put a student in there who might have difficulty being left unattended in any way, shape, or form. But the extra environments were pretty low sensory stimuli, so there wasn't a lot going on visually. There was no extra noises in those rooms. There wasn't anything that could be potentially dangerous or harmful. That being said, we don't really want to leave students unattended either, but they are within the classroom, and they're almost like little office spaces off of the side. So again, a 2 out of 3 because you can't monitor them 100% of the time with just a quick glance, but the way that she utilized them was really great. For the next part, I would say that the learning environment is designed so that all students are able to independently access their own personal spaces. All of them had ample room at each table. So each student was given 2 desks, one for their personal items, with storage underneath with personal baskets, and a place on the back of the chair for their backpack. And then they also had additional cubbies for their specific work tasks that were going to be like their morning journal and their goal work and stuff like that had a separate cubby. So the baskets were really utilized for like crayons, pencils, coloring materials, scissors, things like that. And any specific materials that student required. If they had an AAC device, that would go on the desk that's right next to them so that they could work on their workspace right here, but they also had access to their words. So again, the arrangement in that situation, 3 out of 3, I thought that was perfect. The next part, the physical structure or boundaries exist in all activities based upon individual student needs for support. This was 3 out of 3. The classroom had an individual workspace for each student, a kidney bean table for group work, and then the smaller office spaces for breaks, or if someone just needed time away from the classroom for whatever reason. It could be like a proactive sensory break, or it could be maybe a reward kind of a break for something that they worked for, but those areas could be used in those ways. The next part is the learning environment structure and schedule. And in both categories, I gave this classroom environment a 3 out of 3. The main class schedule was on the board. And then each student had a schedule that worked for them. So for some students, it's broken down into a first, then board. So very concrete. First, I'm going to finish my morning journal. Then I'm going to have a break. First, I'm going to have a break. Then I'm going to do my math. So it's very concrete. This is what I'm doing right now. This is what's coming next. For some students, they could handle a lot more information than that and actually benefited from a lot more information than that. So for some students, it was like we would have our morning journal, then we would have a break, then we would go to breakfast. Then when we came back from breakfast, we'd have another 5-minute break. Then we would break into our morning meeting. Then it would just go through the entire schedule for the day. That worked very well for some students, but not all students within that program. The next area, again, 3 out of 3. Students are always prompted for transitions. They are not necessarily always independently prepared for them, which is, again, why there are so many staff members within the autism program. But the teacher gave a visual timer on the board, which was like a little YouTube link in the corner of the projection, right on top, so that everyone could see the countdown. For some students, that doesn't mean a whole lot, so there was also a verbal reminder. Also, some students are like totally hooked on whatever it is that they're doing. So again, that verbal reminder would kind of alert them to the visual timer. And then for some students, they had an individual timer that was color-coded. So it's like green means you have plenty of time, keep doing what you're doing. Yellow means get to a good stopping point. And then the red timer means stop, time to move on. So the teacher did an excellent job using those materials. And really made the best for students to, if they're not already independent in transitions, which none of the students in the classroom are, then they're working towards that, and hopefully soon they can be. The teacher did a great job also of creating a positive learning environment. That's the next area on the rubric. All team members engage students in positive, respectful, and warm interactions. It was really a very nice environment, very low anxiety. I would say low energy, but I don't mean that in like a boring way. I mean that in a really good way, because it's inviting, it's kind, it's nurturing. There's one-on-one attention and respect going on, but it's also not like the high anxiety that sometimes happens in the school year, I would say. Definitely a different atmosphere during the summer extended school year program. The next area, 3 out of 3, all team members consistently acknowledge students' efforts in an individualized way. The entire group of staff members, we were like the cream of the crop. They all have experience in working with autism. And they all understand that not every student needs the exact same things, but every student gets what they need. So everything is individualized within the program. Every student is working for something different, and every student is prompted in different ways, rewarded in different ways, whether that be with words like, hey, good job, or just very silent, a token for one of the kids because he's easily alarmed or alerted. But everything was very specific to each individual within the program. And the last area, I would say 2 out of 3. While all of the educators within the room did know the routine and did understand how to prompt students and how to prompt each student within the program, I would say that most of the redirections came from 3 of the 5 team members that were within the classroom. So if a teacher was working one-on-one with a student and he got up and kind of walked away, 2 of the teachers didn't, or instructional assistants did not redirect, but that kind of came from like the main teacher, which I would say either I don't understand the reason for why that is, or maybe those team members just need a little bit more training in how to redirect students. I'm not really sure of the reason for that, but sometimes there are reasons. Sometimes students struggle with redirection, and sometimes they can only take it from certain people. So I put 2 out of 3, but again, if that was done like through a plan or with some sort of acknowledgement for what works best for what kid, that could easily be a 3 out of 3. So that's what I observed within the classroom. I really enjoyed my time in there because, again, it was like a different energy. It was different materials. It was a lot less going on within the building. So I would say a lot less anxiety from the students and the staff also. Just a really good experience. Thank you.